Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I am truly excited about tonight. This is our first series of doing this for Brothers Deserve a Chance. A little background as to why I decided to start this organization. We had Sister Second Chance, and we were focusing in on the women and focusing in on the women. And I said, you know what? It's time for us to check on these guys and tell them how important it is for them to express their feelings and talk about their emotions and be vulnerable. And so I decided, well, what about us deciding to bring in some fellas to talk about some important things dealing with mental health so that we can start basically making this a little bit more comfortable for our guys so they can have like a community where women are supporting them, but we're hearing from them and you're not silenced anymore. We want to hear from our king. So I have this amazing king who calls himself the GOAT or has the GOAT going as his acronym. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about the acronym, but his name is Robert Cooper. Robert is going to be talking to us about emotional intelligence, which I'm really excited to hear about. So please tune in, please share, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce and bring Robert on so he can tell you a little bit more about himself. Hello, Robert.
Hello, Sasha. How are you?
I'm great. How are
I'm
you?
doing wonderful.
So I'm super excited to have you. You are the first one.
Oh,
So
wow.
kudos to you. I'm super excited to have you today. I'm excited about what we're doing. I just want men, our kings, to feel like they can express themselves, they can get some help, they can be supported and not feel judged by it. So,
Yes.
first, will you tell us a little bit about you?
I'm a family engagement specialist, millennial trauma expert,
Okay.
author, founder of Young Men Becoming Men.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So you guys, he sounds like he has some experience. So I'm excited to hear about this. And I'm going to go ahead and slide off and I'm going to leave the floor to you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. No problem.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate your time. I'll be talking about emotional intelligence for men. Emotional intelligence for men is something that men don't have because it's broken from a younger age. As we are young males, when we fall down, that emotion is cut off. When we fall, we're told not to cry. So that teaches us what? To protect ourselves and protect our emotions. And this is why a lot of young men and men out here are vulnerable and don't want to be vulnerable at the same time because we don't know how to show empathy, because we never had that empathy and that love, especially from my father figure. And the mental health and is important because not having our father, we didn't get the leadership and the guidance we need. And that's why we, as men now, we're cold and we're shut off and we seem angry because we never had love. We never had no one to express that. I love you. It's okay to show your emotions. It's okay to cry. Especially what society is showing us right now. It's really trying to demasculate men. And we have nowhere and no outlet to go. They want us to make us soft. And that's tough to deal with as a man because if you show your emotions, then you're labeled as soft and you're labeled as other things. And it's hard to be expressive when you don't know how to express yourself. So this forms the anger. I can share a time when I was younger and I went through a lot of things. I was very bitter and I held on to a lot of things because I didn't know how to forgive. That's the freedom to life, is to be able to forgive. Yes, they hurt us. Yes, they belittled us. Yes, they walked out on us. But it's time that we have to apologize and accept other people's apologies and move on with our life. It's hard to move on with life when the mental health, the mental aspect is not fully intact. As men, it's hard to communicate because we're told not to communicate. Only time we can come together is when we play sports or a sporting game. That's interesting for us to be in the same supermarket, but we look up at the TV and the game come on, we can talk the whole time. But that game go off, we walk apart and we walk away. And then within that opportunity, we lose the opportunity to see how our brother is doing. And we lose the perspective of a life, what they're dealing with and what they're going through, because we go right back to what we was doing and what's going on in our lives. The challenging factor of being a man is not growing up with the principles of being a man. That's very challenging, because you go through life looking like you're weak when you don't understand certain things. We don't have the guidance as men because we're torn, we're broken, and we're very fragile. That's when our ego comes in. It's hard as a man because when we're out here, we're trying to do the right thing and things are not going our way. What's our answer? Who do we turn to? What results do we want to have in life? And it's hard to figure out what we want to do in life when we never had the time to sit down and think about who we are and how we want to make the impact. Because we live our lives sometimes seeking for acceptance. Acceptance is hard because we want to be a part of something, especially when we didn't grow up not being a part. We all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved. But it's the value that we have that we don't know. We have a lot of value, but no one has tapped into us. There's people out here that's willing to help us, but we have to seek the help and lay down our pride to step aside and want to be helped. That's the key. Wanting to be helped is very hard for men because, again, our pride withholds us from a lot of things in life, becoming great men, because we're prideful and we don't want to feel like we are in need. We don't want to feel like we have to rely on someone. But there's at times we may have to rely and we may need someone, because if you're not relying on anyone and you're not strong in the area, how would you be able to overcome that? I'm a living witness. My area was being unforgiving. Wasn't strong in that at all. And people used to tell me, you need to let that stuff go. You need to let that bitterness go. You need to be able to forgive your parents, be able to love yourself. For a long time, I'm like, you can't tell me how to love myself. You can't tell me what to do. But in the full picture of it, I didn't understand, because to me, it was like, okay, they're telling me how I should live and how I should be and how I should think, but not knowing that life goes on. And at times we lose family members, and we look back when they're gone and we wish that we could have done things different, knowing while they're here, we still have that same mindset, but we just hold on to the resentment. I was very bitter and very hurtful and very disappointed with my dad, not knowing that when he grew up, he didn't even have his dad. So I had more than what he had when he started as a young man. Even though he was there, he may not be present, but he actually was there. His dad never had a chance to know who his dad was. So he never had a chance to be able to get leadership and be able to understand what it's like to do certain things or experience, just walk down the street with his father, going to the store. And I had some of those experiences. I sat with me and my dad at football games and sporting events and just be able to spend time with each other. A lot of young men don't have that. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I did have and spend with my dad. The times that we don't have, we wish we cherish. But the times that we do have, we don't cherish. So now it's time to cherish yourself with the time that you do have. It's very important to cherish yourself. Because if you don't cherish yourself, how are you going to love your kids, or how are you going to love yourself, or how are you going to love your family? You know, we go through life as men with the passed down generational cycles, and we never take the time out to figure out, why am I like this, or who was like this in my family, so we can understand it's time to break those curses. Because a lot of our young men out here are looking up and wanting the older men to step forward in their lives. They're not looking for you to be their father. They just want you to be present, because we all have something in common. We all have a sport team we like in common. We all have art that we like in common. We all have music that we like in common. It's about bringing our common interests and coming together as men without being ashamed, and sit down and talk. Say, I hurt in this area. This is what I'm going through in this area. This part of my life is tough right now because of. The key to life is loving yourself, forgiving others, and leave your impact. How do you want your legacy to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as the broken man that didn't want nothing, or the broken man that overcame and made a greater impact into the world? I love this opportunity. I really do. I really appreciate this. As I talk right now, it's taking me back on a lot of things that I experienced, and there's a lot of things that I still need to work on within myself, especially talk about the emotional intelligence. Because me showing empathy, I'm not big on empathy, and right now I'm seeing that that's something area that I have to work on. You know, growing up, and pretty much my mom raising me, and seeing your mom as the stronger, dominant person, it was like, okay, if mom's tough, then I have to be tough. Not understanding that all that she had to deal with, she had to be that because she didn't have somebody to talk to. She didn't have an outlet. So it's time to come together. It's time to reach out and say, look, I hurt here. Your why is much greater than anything right now in your life. Your why is important because what you're going through is there for you to be able to help the next person. And that's what it took me a long time to learn in life. And the unforgiveness is what's the part where I had to learn, because I got sick and I had Crohn's disease just from being angry and holding stuff in and replacing bitterness with forgiveness. And I end up hurting myself. And that's what we do as men. We harm ourselves because we don't want nobody to come close to us because we don't like to be vulnerable. We don't like to be in a place where we feel like people can come in and at any moment they can snatch the rug from under us. We don't want to be in that position to be hurt. But how are you going to overcome that hurt? How are you going to overcome that vulnerability if you're not putting yourself out there to be helped? There's a greater cause for your life. There's a greater purpose for your life. And it's up to you to, open your heart, open your mind and say, from this day forward, you'll never be the same. You will no longer transition into unhappiness and bitterness and sadness. That will be behind you because you're starting to work forward to the new. The new is your new mindset, the new heart, the joy that you want to have, the things that you want to do, and the people that you want to help. But it's up to you. I struggle with emotional intelligence, especially growing up in a single family home. That's hard. Not knowing how to be able to communicate. That's what I struggled at. The social aspect of it. I felt like everybody was against me. I was too afraid to talk because I didn't want to be teased by certain things. I talked different. I didn't talk like everybody else. I felt as though that, since I'm not being helped and not being loved in the way I want to be, why deal with people? You're shutting off yourself. You're not shutting off the people because their lives are still going to move forward while we're still stuck. The greater experiences, you overcoming your trials and your traumatic experiences. I'm here for you. There's other great men out here that's willing to help you. It's just a matter of time for you to step forward and love yourself and say, this is the day that I will no longer be the same. Love is an action word. And if you love yourself, you'll put the action to help yourself become a better man, to forgive yourself, to love others, and always remember that you're the greatest thing that was created, because there's many people out here, but there's no one like you. There's no one like you. I want to touch on being emotional. Emotions is hard for men. Like I mentioned earlier, the empathy part is an expression. I'm not able to express empathy. I can show emotion, but I can't express the empathy part of it. And I struggle with this every day. It's hard for me because I look around and I see people are hurting, and I can empathize with you. But for me to get out there and like reach my hands and hug, I'm not that type person, but I need to work on that. We all need a hug. We all need a word of encouragement, especially as men, because the day-to-day life that in society that we live in right now, it's tough for us, especially trying to move forward in life, especially wanting to do the right things. Everybody's not out here doing the bad things. There's some people out here that are doing good, but not catching that break. It's like, I'm tired and I'm frustrated, but I plead and I beg with you, don't give up. Keep pushing. The greater good is on the other side. But if you give up at that present moment, it's so much more great over that you're not going to be able to see. You have to keep going, my brothers. You really do. You really do. The pressing is in your blessing. It really is. It really is. You have to keep going. Please don't stop. I plead with you. I plead with you because I experienced tough times and still am experiencing tough times. And things may not be going the way I wanted to go, but I know if I keep pressing, because what I'm going through is for me to get to the other side, who's over there for me to help, who's over there for me to be able to encourage, uplift, and build. If I stop now, it'll die right there, and I won't be able to help. Who's there for me to help? The same thing with you. So keep pressing. Your change is there. Your time is now. And the greater good is within you. It really is.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it. I love it. You are so right. It was a lot that you said that stood out to me. You actually got some questions, so that's why I hopped on. You already got a question over here, okay? And I just want to first say thank you for sharing your story about Crohn's. I didn't know you experienced that. I didn't know that it sounded like it was from the pressure of not expressing yourself. And I thank you for being vulnerable. So we have a question from Mr. Anthony Franks. He said, how important is having a spiritual foundation to being able to deal with being vulnerable?
It's very important because, we have to lean and not to our own understanding, but acknowledge the Lord. We got to let him lead and guide our footsteps, because sometimes we get in our own self, we get in our way because we want to do things on our time, and his time is not our time. His ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts. So you have to lean on the Lord and seek guidance and understanding.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree. Now, why I know you talked a lot about this, but one thing I was just wondering, why do you feel like, and we all have our opinions, but why do you feel like people are so hard on men and feel like men should just kind of be just tough and not have to have any expression of emotions?
That's the key word. You said tough. So once we go through something, in their mind, we're tough enough to deal with it. So they say we all right. So what happens? Our feelings get pushed to the back burner, and we never have a chance to, express how we feel, or nobody never look at us and say, how can we help you, or how was your day? It's like the small things we don't get, and it's like we got to carry on knowing that we're not getting that and still pretty much deal with life.
Absolutely. Now, how can we fix this? What can we do? What do you think that we can do to try to really, I know we can do these lives and stuff, but what else can we do outside of this to help to bring more awareness to the fact that we need to support men more, allow men to have more vulnerability, promote emotional health? How can we work on this?
It's mainly investing in what interests men. Every man has a different interest.
Okay.
Not all men love sports. So it's about finding a way to bring us together, have an event, have a breakfast to bring us together, and just be able to talk as men. A lot of men are scared to talk because they emotionally suppressed, or they don't want to. If they express something and nobody else is going in the room, they don't want to feel like they're the only one dealing with that.
Now, one thing I've noticed as well, and I wanted to ask you about, as a therapist personally, I've noticed that there are less men coming to therapy. Why do you think that is? I have a whole 95% women. Why do you think men are afraid of coming to therapy?
Men are more putting a Band-Aid on it. Women are more open to go and get help. Women will call the doctor to see what's wrong. Men, I'm all right. Let's find a pill. Let's find whatever I can find to take what I have to take and keep moving forward, because I can't stop, because I don't want to face the reality of the trauma that I'm experiencing. I don't want to face the reality of the setbacks that I'm experiencing.
You got another question. Anthony said, How do you encourage young men not to be so self-sufficient, but learn how to depend on the spiritual foundation?
Teach them the concept of team.
Mm.
With a team, we all have a role. If you can't buy into your role, the team can't flourish.
Okay. How does having a team correlate with the spiritual foundation?
The spiritual foundation, the team within the church, we have the pastor and we have everybody that follows down, and he gives the orders. So whoever takes the orders, the deacons, the trustees, that's the part of the team. Now he give that order to them. That's what they have to, their strength, whatever strength they have in that order, they take that part of their strength and use that. And whoever has the strength in that part of the order, and we come together as a team and we can work that together. That's the thing. We're not taught leadership, and we're not taught how to be humble, because at an early age we play with toys. And first thing what happens is our family member come over and want to play with us. Our parent do what? Give them a toy instead of teaching us, okay, this is your cousin. All right, this is how you sit down. You better play with this together. We're never taught how to come together. We always taught how to play, be apart.
So you're saying unity.
Yes.
Teach how to build unity within the spiritual foundation. I get what you're saying. Okay. I love it. Now I got another question, but it's got to do with that acronym that's behind you.
Yes.
What does it mean, and why did you create it?
Greatness over adversity and trauma.
Okay.
There's greatness within you.
Okay.
But in life, it's the adversity sometimes that make us think that we're not who we are. We're not who we were created or destined to be.
Did you personally feel like this is like something did you make this based off of your experience of one you told us about, or was it something else that made you come up with it?
Just experience altogether in life that helped me create this.
Okay. All right. So listen, you started us off with a bang. I'm already ready to go to my men's group on here and see what they got to say, because I want to see how many of them understood the importance from listening to this of expressing your emotions. And one thing I heard you say is sometimes we know how to have the emotion as men, but we don't know how to have the empathy. I heard you say that.
Yes.
And it's so true. So true. And I think both of the two people think they're intertwined, but no, they're two different things, different things.
Yes.
So I want to thank you. You so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, look, for starting us off with a bang.
Oh, wow.
I want you to tell everybody where you want them to go to follow you, to purchase your book. Let us know where you are.
I'm on Instagram at Robert Thomas Cooper Jr. I'm on Facebook at Robert Thomas Cooper Jr. My website is youngmenbecomingmen.org. You can purchase your books. You can also purchase your GOAT t-shirts and your GOAT hoodies.
What's the website again? Give it to me.
Youngmenbecomingmen.org.
Youngmenbecomingmen.com.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me put this up so the world can see it. They need to see that, okay? So did I hit it right? Is that right?
Yes, you did. You're perfect. That's good.
All right. So that's the way everybody can see it. They can come back and replay this video and they'll still be like, hold on, what was that? They can come on there and see it. And then anybody watching, if you want to put it in the comments, that would be great, so that Mr. Robert can get some support, order his book. What's the name of your book again?
A Young Man's Cry.
Okay.
Every family has a story.
Now, real quick, before we let you go, I just wonder, what is Young Man's Cry about?
A Young Man's Cry is helping young men overcome the emotional aspect of crying out, but not having the principles of becoming a young man, not having the principles of leadership, not having the principles of financial literacy.
Oh, wow.
As men, we're not taught financial literacy. And it's like I mentioned to somebody today, putting your son or your daughter out at 18 is a generational curse. Yeah. It really is. Because it's like you putting them out there, and then when they come back 6 months later, well, why are you back here? I never had the financial literacy to be able to help myself, be able to sustain my living.
Yeah, I love it. Anthony said, thank you, Robert. You rock.
I appreciate you, Anthony. Thank you.
I appreciate you. And somebody said the pressing is in the blessing. That's a word.
Yes. I take offerings too if they want to send it.
Look, he said he takes offerings, y'all. So we appreciate you guys. Before I get off of here, we're going to be doing this. We're trying to do it at least once a month, but right now I have some people lined up about every 2 weeks. And it's so funny that he brought up a breakfast, because guess what? October the 29th, Brothers Deserve a Chance is having their first men's brunch, and it is called Men Can Be Emotional. So I'm excited. It's in Atlanta. That's our first one. We're going to be coming to some other locations, but we have some amazing speakers that's going to be there, and you are definitely welcome to come as well, Robert.
Thank you.
And you guys, if you want to check that out, go to Eventbrite to RSVP. It's completely free, but women, if you come, you're not allowed to speak. We have to be silent.
Wow.
So if you come across the threshold, understand you're not speaking. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be hard. Women like to talk.
I want a front row seat for this one.
So I'm excited about this. Okay, guys, remember, go to his website, www.youngmenbecomingmen.org. Robert, if you could give us one liner of one thing you could say to inspire people, inspire our men, our young men, or men overall, what would you say?
Place your hand over your heart.
Look, I'm going to do it too.
Today is the day of my life that I will no longer allow myself to be held back from my bitterness and my brokenness. Mm-hmm. I will press forward with the new mindset of who I am and where I want to be and how I want to impact the world.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Y'all better run this back 1,000 times, because Robert did this, okay? And whoever got to come behind him, baby, you better come with it, because Robert did it, okay? All right, Robert, I want to thank you so much. I appreciate you, and make sure you enjoy the rest of your night. And that's
you too.
it.
Thank you.
See you soon. Peace out, everybody. One second, guys. I'm trying to end the live. The thing won't let me do it. Look, I'm going to pull you off the screen. It's acting silly, my computer.